This is Carcino here, and I'm remembering Dan the Man Goosen. A lot of y'all probably don't really know what Dan did back in his days with HBO. Him, Lou DiBella, Seth Abrahams, all three of those guys basically was running HBO before Ross Greenberg came around. And all the HBO boxing you saw at that time was pretty much they're doing, and the three of them decided, well, the two of them decided to leave, Lou and Dan, and start their own promotional companies. So Dan, I never met, or I never really heard of him until I was watching James Toney versus Evander Holyfield, and everybody remember the epic post fight to that fight. And all of a sudden you hear James Toney, goosen-tutor, goosen-tutor, we're taking over. My mom's Uncle Larry, goosen-tutor. So everywhere he was going, he was goosen-tutor, goosen-tutor. And we used to crack up mocking Tony, and it was funny because then I was like, wait a minute, Dan Goosen, I remember him. Because I seen Joe Goosen, and I'm like, oh, okay, I remember Dan from HBO. So now it all started to make sense, but I never met the man until, what was that, Floyd Mayweather fought Carlos Baldomir, the Pretty Risky pay-per-view. And I get there for the actual, presser and everything else, and I'm getting there to support Floyd. I'm like here to support the champ. He's getting ready to fight. So he's going for the legitimate welterweight championship. So I said, well, let me get here and fly down here and support him and come see the fight. So I get there, and I'm supposed to have tickets. Nate Jones and Sam are in a disagreement about some tickets. And Sam was like, look, I'm trying to get tickets sold myself and blah, blah, blah. I run into Dan, and I go, goosen-tutor, Big Dan. So he saw me, he puts that big smile on his face. He come up, shake my hand, man, really gracious, introduced me to his wife, his son, and he was so stressed at that point. You could see it on him. He was pretty stressed. He was dealing with a lot. People running up to him. A lot of things weren't going right. But Chris Arreola is fighting Denzel Washington. I see Denzel coming in. He's talking because Denzel had his fighter there, Bolo, on the same card. So he's talking to him, and he said to him, like, okay, Denzel's like, well, we want this, we want that. We got to make sure this is right, that's right. And like what time, I need to know what time we're going on. So Denzel was talking with him in the back. So they don't have my credentials. So I like, wait a minute, where's my ticket? I can't get in this place. So they argued. I'm like, well, I don't want to buy a ticket. Then somebody be like, hey, they got a ticket for you. So I talked to Dan, and Dan said, well, it's too late right now to get the tickets. So for the credentials, because they would have to take your picture and put your picture with it. And right now we're not set up to really do that right now. So he said, and just to add you, and you're not already on that list, just pay for a ticket. I will take care of you, man. I said, alright, no problem. So I went and bought my ticket. I spent $300, bought the $300 section. I'm in there. And I haven't seen Floyd yet. Normally on fight day, I don't see Floyd. Or if I do, it's going to be for a little bit of time. So Floyd is going into this fight basically with a hand injury. I see them when they come out to the weigh-in. And then I come out, I see Floyd after the weigh-in. Baldomir is going to get IV. So that's how drained he was. So they got new rules they wanted to sit everybody down and talk about, because the last fight was Zab Judah with the incident, people running in the ring. So they wanted to tell and go over the new rules Nevada came out with. So they're sitting all the fighters down and running them over the new rules. And Dan is informing them of the new rules and this is what's going on and that. And Dan wants to talk to Leonard Ellaby and Al Heyman about what's going on. So all of this commotion is happening. I'm sitting there. Floyd sees me out the corner of his eye, makes a beeline straight to me, and goes, "Where do I know you from?" And I told him, "Yeah, you know me through Nate, Big Nate, shout out." "Oh, okay. What's up, family?" So he started talking to me and just totally ignoring what he got to do. And I was just there to like wish him luck and all this and that. And he said he'd take a picture with me and all this stuff. So we took a picture right there on the floor. The picture you probably seen 1,000 times. Then he ended up going off to talk to Dan about some more business, about what's going on, like with Bolemere. Like, man, where's Bolemere at? Like, why they got me waiting here? Where's Bolemere? Bolemere was busy getting the IV, and they had to let him know that Bolemere may wait, but he has to get on IV right away because he's totally dehydrated. So he's in there on the IV, and they was like, alright, well, whatever. We come back. I think we go to the back. Andre Ward comes out. And Andre Ward's like, man, I don't have a ticket. This is that. And all this is going on. And he said, you know what, Andre, I got you. I got your ticket. And he says, this is my man right here. He said, did you get your ticket? I said, yeah, I got my ticket. He said, alright, when you come here tomorrow when the fight starts, see me. You'll find me, and I'll put you where you should be. He moved me up there, sitting right next to Andre Ward and Stevie Forbes. We were sitting right there, right where the entrance is. We were moved all the way up. We weren't sitting in the 300 section no more. We moved all the way up there to where the fighters was coming out at, and that was perfect because I wanted to see the entrances when the fighters coming in. And that ended up being my first video on YouTube ever. Was the Floyd Mayweather entrance to the Bolemere fight when he came in on the Crown. That was the first entrance into my YouTube world. Was a Dan Goosen event. So, Dan, thank you for that. I mean, you were really cool. Even the post-fight, you were gracious. I mean, what more could I say? I mean, the guy was great. He was good as gold with me. I mean, I never had a problem with Dan Goosen ever since then. And every time I've seen him after that, Dan Goosen has always been cool with me. And he always delivered. When Dan said this was going to happen, it happened. Dan had Tiger Woods there, Charles Barkley, and I can't tell y'all what else happened after that. But believe you me, what happened with Tiger and all that stuff, that was no surprise to me. After that night, Dan had all the celebrities there that night. I'll tell you that much. That was a celebrity-filled fight for it to be Carlos Bolemere. Paul Williams was on the card. We had a lot of good fights. Chris Arreola beat he beat what's his name? Denzel Washington's guy, and Carlos Bolemere. Who would have thought he'd get that shot? But Arreola. I mean, in shape Arreola with a 6-pack. Yeah, you probably thought you'd never see that a day in your life, but it happened. So rest in peace, Dan, man. You've done your job.